Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen explain why Charles Oliveira is a worse matchup for Michael Chandler than Conor McGregor. Chael and DC discuss the UFC 309 co-main event on a recent episode of Fat Guy and Bad Guy on the ESPN MMA. Both legends appreciated Chandler for moving on from McGregor, as the Irishman has shown no real proof of returning to the octagon lately. Having said that, both Chael and DC are concerned about Chandler facing Oliveira after a nearly 2-year-long layoff. While he's been sitting out, Do Bronx has knocked out Beneil Dariush and given Arman Tsarukyan one of his toughest fights yet. Chandler will never get a bigger fight, but he did get a tougher fight. Cormier said, Oliveira is still fighting at the top of the game. Charles was scheduled to fight for the World Championship and then got hurt with the big cut. Oliveira fought Tsarukyan and fought him competitively, who is now fighting for the World Championship. These guys are as good as they come. Michael Chandler, though, has sat, and that's the problem. Then, Chael remembered that the McGregor fight was supposed to happen at 170 pounds. Now Chandler will have to weigh in at 155 pounds for Oliveira, which is an additional mental and physical burden, to say the least. Charles Oliveira is a rough night out. Not to mention, it's a match they've already done. You don't get better at a sport by not doing it. Chandler's been on the sidelines waiting to do it. I gotta think that Oliveira is a meaningful favorite here. I would think the line's only about 2 to 1.5, but I think those people are gonna be very confident. I like that he's back. It's a very tough night out. Who do you think wins in a rematch between Charles and Chandler? Leave your comments below. Aljamain Sterling recently opened up about the events that led to the heated altercation with Sean O'Malley's entourage at UFC 306. In the lead up to the fight, tensions between the opponents remained mostly verbal, with nothing crossing into personal or physical territory. However, things escalated when Dvalishvili was taking pictures with fans inside the Sphere. Sterling and Merab found themselves in a fiery confrontation with Sean's several best friends. Aljo took to Twitter to clarify that the individuals taunting them were not just random people, but actually 2 of O'Malley's close friends, including his podcast producer, Ricky Schmidt. Those guys weren't fans, they were literally his best friends. The big one he podcasts with, called Schmitty or something like that, and the Twig Man, walked all the way back over to be pricks, while Merab goes out his way to greet the fans and take pics. No class from his friends. During a recent appearance on SiriusXM's MMA Today, Funkmaster opened up about the scuffle at the Sphere. When Merab went on the bus after the Friday evening face-off, we saw a whole bunch of people waving him down, so he gets off the bus to go over, Sterling said. Now, his minions, Schmitty and the other skinny twig, were on the other side. I see these guys screaming and yelling, coming all the way back over to be assholes. I was like, alright guys, the presser's done and now you're in our personal space. I told him, dude, you're really close now, and you're being straight up disrespectful. I'm right here now, so if you want to sit behind this, you're not very far away from me. Sterling went on to explain that people have become far too bold in mocking and antagonizing others, especially in public. He hinted that the situation would have played out very differently if there hadn't been cameras around to capture the scene. People have gotten way too comfortable with just being complete a-holes and thinking that there's nothing wrong with them being a-holes. We're not in the arena where you can chirp and pay up money. Now we're in our personal space. We're working and being professional with what we're trying to do, and you're literally walking over and being a complete prick. There's nothing cool about that whatsoever. TJ Dillashaw believes Cory Sandhagen will piece up Sean O'Malley. While the 29-year-old champ had fans buzzing about a dream matchup with Sandhagen, that fight sadly never materialized. Former title holder TJ Dillashaw, who's gone toe-to-toe with the Sandman, has some bold predictions. After a split decision win over Cory, Dillashaw believes that if Sandhagen and O'Malley face off, Cory would piece him up in the octagon. I think he pieces Sean up. So, like when they were getting ready to give a title fight to someone, I thought Sandhagen would have been a dope fight for him. But I think Sandhagen's just better at what O'Malley is good at, to be honest, Dillashaw stated on the Jackson podcast. He's just more dangerous, right? But O'Malley's got great feints. I mean, that's the fight to make. I would love to see that fight, the former champion added. Deiveson Figueiredo said Umar Nurmagomedov doesn't deserve UFC title shot. The former UFC flyweight king has gone 3-0 so far at 135 with wins over Rob Font, Cody Garbrandt, and Marlon Vera, and was at the Sphere this past Saturday to watch Dvalishvili dethrone Sean O'Malley. Merab mentioned Figgy's name at the post-fight press conference as well. I was watching the fight, and in the end, he looked at me. I was 10 meters away from him, and he started pointing at me. Figgy said in an interview with MMA Fighting. "I was rooting for him because now we can make this fight happen. I thought he would call me out in the cage, but he mentioned my name in interviews and I'm here, man. Umar just got here," Figueiredo said. "He just had his first fight against a tough guy, and I'm sure he has to get tested more. To fight someone else first. Maybe O'Malley. I'm already tested. I left a division where I was champion and moved up and fought strong guys. I had no easy fights. I definitely present more danger to Merab. I'm ready to fight him. People have been calling me out since I got to this division. Maybe they think I'm an easy fight, but I show them otherwise in the octagon. I'm ready, man. I'm ready to fight for the belt. I want to win that belt." Figueiredo said he would be willing to face Dvalishvili at UFC 310 on December 7th, if the champion is healthy for a relatively short turnaround. The Brazilian veteran said he will focus on grappling training to confuse Dvalishvili and become a two-division champion. Who do you think is more deserving of a bantamweight title shot, Umar or Figgy? Leave your comments below. Khamzat Chimaev is counting on a Donald Trump election victory to tackle his visa travel issues. With Trump back in the White House, there's a strong chance Khamzat could reclaim his stateside visa. Khamzat said in an interview with Adam Zubarayev, "As long as Donald Trump is not the president of the United States, we can't come back to the US. Maybe that's the reason. Let's not cover the truth. But I'm not upset. Whenever they let me fight, I will fight. Whenever I get the belt, let it be, and even if I don't get the belt, I will still be the champion without the belt." Chimaev hasn't stepped into the octagon on US soil since his impressive submission win over Kevin Holland at UFC 279 in late 2022. His next fight is set for UFC 308 in Abu Dhabi, where Boers will take on former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker. Visa issues have significantly halted Chimaev's momentum, preventing him from accessing the ability to fight in the United States. Khamzat was approached by the UFC to headline UFC 300 this past April in a title fight against then-champion Leon Edwards, but he wasn't granted a visa. With that, his fights are having to take place in the Middle East, which is an issue as the UFC only hosts events in the region every now and again. Khamzat said, "Unfortunately now, the UFC don't sign enough guys from Russia, and especially Chechnya. I think politically because of what is happening right now. Visas are not being given to the guys, including me." Chimaev ended his statement with an unsatisfied expression on his face, clearly frustrated with the situation. Who do you think takes the win in this epic showdown, Chimaev or Whittaker? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for your daily dose of MMA news.